Hello, my name is Elaine Brelsford and I'm with the American Quilter Society. We're here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for Quilt Week. And I'm here with Cheryl See from Ashburn, Virginia, and she has won third place with her quilt TATTED HEARTS. So we're going to talk to her a little bit about her quilt. Is this an original design, Cheryl?
It is an original design.
And how long did it take you to make the design?
To make the design, probably very quickly. To make the quilt, about 14 months since it's done by hand.
Okay. Tell us, you have a whole different idea about hand quilting. Talk to us a little bit about hand quilting.
Yes, I like to show that hand quilting doesn't have to be traditional, that it can be very innovative, and long arming kind of inspires me. All the fancy quilting, I want people to see that you can hide different things and be free. And so I have different objects like a postage stamp and a butterfly, even some eyeballs in my quilt. So just to mix it up.
All right, you have lots of different embellishments on this quilt. Tell us about some of those.
Well, the embellishments was actually a happy accident. I was about 9 months into the project and my mother was at a cousin's house and came across my great-grandmother's hand-tatted lace.
Oh.
And they didn't know what to do with it. They wanted a nice home, and my mom looked at the colors and said, oh my gosh, this is going to be perfect for my daughter's quilt. And so I was able to put 20 yards of my great-grandmother's hand-tatted lace, and I knew I was going to use Swarovski crystals on the quilt, and it was a perfect way to nestle a lot of these crystals. And even I have a partially finished doily that my great-grandmother had made, and I hated to just take it apart, and I was able to make that work here as well. Into the design without taking it apart, and I love it.
So all of the needlework embellishment here that we see is on your grandmother's tatted lace.
The tatting.
Yes.
I have a lot of embroidery, like this embroidery is mine. The edging is a bullion stitch and French knots, and all of that was done by myself, but the tatting is my great-grandmother's.
Then you've got applique on here.
Fairly simple applique. My theme was hearts and circles. So anything was fair game as long as it was hearts and circles.
So how'd you choose your fabrics? What did you do when you went to approach that?
Well, I have another quilt that you guys have patterned fall into spring that uses Mary Mako's fabric, and that was more of a red-green colorway, and this is more her pastels. But this is all Mary Mako fabric.
Aligned by her as well.
Any gradated fabric would work wonderful with this type of quilt.
Okay, now tell me about your hand quilting. Did you teach yourself, or how did you learn all the different stitches?
I taught myself how to hand quilt, and now I'm turning that around to others, and I teach others how to do innovative hand quilting.
Okay, and you enjoy that a lot.
I love handwork of all kinds, English paper piecing, any kind of handwork.
What else would you like to tell us about this quilt?
Oh, it was such a joy. This is a departure from maybe some of my other projects, but it was very artistically freeing to never know what I was going to do until I was actually doing it. And as a hand quilter, I can quilt and then think about the next awkward space that might need to be filled. And it was just free. And this quilt just makes me smile. It makes me happy, and it seems to make others happy, and I think that's what I love about this.
The colors are great, the design is great. Now, when you say it was freeing, you got to a place and you didn't know what to do next. When you do your quilting designs, do you draw them out on paper? What do you do?
Now, I might doodle, but I'm dealing with one space at a time. I almost love challenges. So I don't worry about this little teeny corner that's going to not be quilted at that moment in time, because I'm going to figure it out later. And that makes me step out of my box and be more creative than to sit there and draw it all and not have to start until my whole pattern is drawn. I can just look at my doodles and go, okay, that doodle will work right here, you know. So
you do it as it's in your lap or in your hoop. Which do you do?
I might take a design and fine-tune it at that moment in time, but I do not have the whole pattern written out before I do it.
You just kind of feel it as you go.
I kind of feel it as I go.
That's pretty exciting.
Yes.
That's a different way
Very
to think
much
about
like
it.
free motion quilting, and for people that don't draw out their patterns ahead of time. It's just freedom of expression. Oh, I think I want to turn this way. You know, it's the same kind of concept.
Oh my gosh, I just had never thought of that before. That's neat. Now, did you all your quilts like that, or just this one?
This one. My last quilt, Starstruck, was very traditional cross-hatching quilting. It was more about the design. And this one I wanted to be more about the quilting. I didn't want the quilting to be boredom, so the design on this is more simple, and it's about drawing people in and seeing all the things to see that's in the quilting.
And there's a lot to look at in this quilt. There's a lot going on with it. It's really beautiful. What's your next project?
Next project is a smaller version of Starstruck, which is in the National Quilt Museum in Paducah, and that'll be my next book as well, or a pattern, depending on the number of pages, and that'll be out probably early summer. And it's about a third the size. It's just a scaled down version. I've had a lot of requests for this pattern for the last couple years, and this is about a third the size, so a little bit more doable, and just as pretty.
That's wonderful. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Elaine.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.